It is the 20th frame for the form economics, 12th. Uh, the topic, the analysis of the major aspects related to reforms and economy. We have already seen the growth and employment in agriculture in the previous frame, in the 19th frame. So in the 20th frame, we will take the industrial sector. That what were the conditions and status of the industrial sector, and what were the effects of the LPG reforms 1991 on the industrial sector. As I have earlier discussed, that Indian industrial sector also could not perform well as expectations because of some of the reasons. There were variations and the fluctuations in the growth, but more or less it has shown a trend of decline in the industrial sector. So in the industrial sector, the post reforms era or times after 1991, the industrial sector of India shown variation and declining growth rate. The LPG means liberalization, privatization and globalization strategies and policies were not much supportive for the growth of Indian industries. The main reasons were as following. So what were the reasons that Indian industries could not do well after the reforms? So we will discuss reason one by one. Number one reason was the increase in imports. Due to the impositions of sanctions and conditions on the Indian government, especially for the liberalization of the Indian economy, means opening the Indian economy for the foreign firms, rather to say the MNCs, the multinational corporations. The MNCs have entered into India with very big and deep pockets, because the main attraction of Indian market for MNCs was to the largest middle class income group of the India. So this largest middle class income group, it is very important demographic factor till today in India, and it still attracts the foreign companies in India. So increase in imports. Due to liberalization policy, the Indian market had been opened for manufactured goods, especially automobiles, engineering goods, food products, ready-made garments, electronics, etc. These imported goods were cheap and innovative, with innovative features as compared to domestic goods. Thus, it has given rise to the imports. The imports hit our industries in a badly manner. The imported goods, they were quality wise better and they were mainly cheap, less expensive as compared to Indian goods. So there was increase in the inflow of the imported goods. So we could not favor or we could not protect our domestic industries. So it was a reason due to reason for the declining trend for the Indian industries. Second point, it is also related point, the increase in the foreign competition. The Indian industries could not do well because of the fierce cutthroat competition from the foreign companies. The foreign companies have such some benefits or some strong points with them. So what were their strength, we will see over the Indian companies. Number one, our consumers, they have preferred the imported goods because the Indian customer was benefited with the good quality products. Now the variables were available, different types of sizes, different designs of goods, they were available, and the MNC exert a lot of competition because they have very good expertise and experience, worldly expertise and worldly experience, like Nestle, Toyota, Hyundai. These were some of the MNCs. So the increased foreign competition from the MNCs to Indian industries. The world-class MNCs enjoyed brand name. It is very important point. Quality, good technology, new features, effective management and market research. You'll wonder to know that Nestle and the Unilever type companies, they invest lot of money in the market research and product development. So research and strong financial position. The MNCs have given tough, fierce competition to Indian firms who were already suffering and struggling from the issues like investment, lack of capital, technology, raw material, trade union related issues, strikes, etc. The Indian companies could not face the fierce foreign competition, and the MNCs from the rest of the world, they have captured much of the Indian market. So we were not able to face the competition given by the MNCs. So that way our industries, earlier what was our strategies? In 1950 and in the second industrial policy up to 1990, we have our strategy and policy to protect domestic industries and import substitution. Now they have been changed. Now the foreign companies have been allowed to come into India and they have taken lot of market share of Indian companies. Indian market. And the third point is less access of Indian firms in developed countries. This is the twofold aspect of the liberalization, privatization and globalization policies. The most favored nation and developed countries, they did not allow with their non-tariff barriers to the companies and firms from the least developed countries and developing countries. So these were the double standards, and that has also put adverse effects on the industrial development of developing countries like India. Less access of Indian firms in developed countries, the foreign trade policies were not much friendly and not supportive for developing countries. The developed nations and countries use non-tariff barriers like quota to protect their industries. Means developed countries are still protecting their domestic industries. For example, US has not removed the quota restrictions or quota barriers to import textiles from India and China. So we were not able to export our goods to developed countries. It has also put the adverse effects on our industries.